Room enough. Years ago, a wise old judge lived in a little town. Many people went to him for help with their troubles. It seemed to them that the wise judge could always tell them what to do. One day, an old man who lived in a small house just outside the town came to see the judge. "I've heard that you are very wise," he said to the judge. "I hope that you can help me." "I'll help you if I can," said the judge. "Tell me what seems to be the trouble." "My wife and I have been living all alone," said the old man. "Our house is very small, but we have been happy together. Some time ago my son and his wife and baby came to live with us. The house is now so full. I can hardly walk around in it. And the baby seems to be always in my way. Doesn't your son help with the work on your small farm?" asked the judge. "Yes, he does," said the old man. "He does almost all the farm work. But the house is too small for the 5 of us. If I had money enough, I would build a bigger house." "Doesn't your son's wife do anything to help?" asked the judge. "She is a good worker," said the old man. "She takes care of the baby and helps with the work around the house and farm. If I could only build a bigger house, I would be happy to have them with us. But the one room in our house just doesn't seem to be big enough for all of us. Does your wife like to have 5 people in such a small house?" asked the judge. "Does she want to build a bigger house?" "The house doesn't seem too small to her," answered the old man. "She likes having our son and his wife and baby with us." "I see," said the judge. "You want a bigger house, but you don't have the money to build one. Maybe I can help you. Will you promise to do everything that I tell you to do?" "I'll promise," said the old man. "I really need a bigger house. Everybody gets in my way now." Then the wise judge said, "When you get home, go into the barn and get your cow and calf. Take them to live with you in your small house." "But will that make my house grow bigger?" asked the old man. "That seems silly to me." "Did you come here for help?" asked the judge. "Yes, I did, and I promised to do what you asked," said the old man. "I will take the cow and calf into our small house. I hope that this will make the house grow bigger. It doesn't have room enough for me now." When the old man got home, he went right to the barn to get the cow and calf. As he pulled them into the house, his wife said, "What are you doing with the cow and calf? Put them out in the barn where they belong. They are getting my clean floor all dirty." The old man told what the judge had said. If the judge said that taking the cow and calf into the house would make it grow, I believe it, said the old wife. The judge is a very wise man. We haven't enough money to build a new house anyway. If a dirty floor will help us to have a bigger house, I'll put up with it. Now things really did seem bad to the old man. The floor was always dirty. The little house was no longer clean and tidy. Every time the cow turned her head, the bell on her neck would ring. The calf knocked things off the table onto the floor. No longer could the old man sit by himself and let the others work. He had to watch the cow and calf all the time to be sure they didn't get into trouble. Sometimes the calf nearly walked on the baby as the baby played on the floor. Then the poor baby would cry. One day the old man found the cow eating his food. He gave the poor cow a big push, and she knocked the dishes and food off the table onto the dirty floor. That was too much for the old man. "I can't have this cow putting her nose into my food," he said. "The house doesn't seem to be growing any bigger. It seems to be growing smaller. I'm going to see the judge again. That cow has her nose in everything. She puts her nose into my face at night when I'm in bed. I can't even sleep." The old man started for town to see the judge. The old man told the judge how the cow put her nose into everything. He told how the cow ate his food and knocked the dishes off the table onto the dirty floor. Then he said, "I've kept my promise, but the house hasn't grown at all." The wise judge heard everything. "It's too soon for the house to grow," he said. "Hasn't your poor wife said anything about the cow?" "She hasn't said much," the old man answered. "She works so hard that she likes to have the cow in the house. Now she doesn't have to go to the barn to milk. But that cow is more trouble to me than my son, his wife, and their baby. I can't sit still with her in the house, and she doesn't let me sleep at night. If you will keep your promise a little longer, you will see that I am right," said the judge. "Do as I say and you will not have to build a bigger house. Go home now and take the sheep into the house to live with you." But if the house hasn't grown with the cow and the calf, how can a sheep make it grow? Asked the unhappy old man. "Just do as I say and everything will be all right," said the judge. The old man said to the judge, "A promise is a promise." To himself he said, "If I were not so poor, I would build a bigger house." Then he started home. Soon the unhappy old man was home again. He went to the barn and got the sheep. His wife saw him coming with the sheep. "What? Are you going to bring the sheep in, too?" she asked. "The judge said to do it," answered the old man. "He said that it would make our house grow bigger." "The judge must be right," said the old wife. "He is a very wise man." Before night the sheep had jumped on the old man's chair and broken it. The cow had broken a jar with her tail. The calf had broken a pretty dish. The little house seemed smaller than ever. When the old man told his wife how unhappy he was, she said, "Be patient a little longer. I'm sure the judge is right." The old man found it hard to be patient. The next day the sheep jumped up on the old man's bed. Down went the bed to the floor, all broken. That same day the cow put her nose into the cream that the old woman was making into butter. The cream had to be used to feed the pigs, and there was no butter to eat. When the old woman was feeding the baby, the sheep knocked the dish of food right out of her hands onto the dirty floor. "This can't go on," said the old man, looking at the broken dish. "I am going to talk to the judge again." The judge came to the door when the old man knocked. "What now?" he asked. The old man said, "My house hasn't grown at all. The sheep has broken my chair and my bed. Nearly all the dishes are broken. My wife can't make butter because the cow keeps putting her nose into the cream. We have to feed the good cream to the pigs. Build a new chair and a new bed," said the judge. "Get some new dishes. Help your wife make more butter. Now, when you go home, you must do one last thing. Take the goat and the pigs into the house to live with you." The old man was very unhappy. He knew that the pigs and the goat would fill the small house. At last he said, "If you think this will give me a bigger house without building a new one, I'll be patient and do it. A promise is a promise." As the old man walked slowly home, he thought of this last thing he had to do. "I hope that the house won't be so filled with animals that the people will have to sleep in the barn," he thought. He walked more and more slowly as he came nearer home. He was tired of living in the dirty house with the animals. It was hard for him to be patient. When he came to the house, he found his wife making butter. The cow was trying to get her nose into the cream again. His son's wife was trying to feed the baby, the sheep was trying to get the poor baby's food. The house seemed filled with people and animals. "What did the judge say?" asked the old woman. "He told me to bring the goat and the pigs into the house," said the old man slowly. "It doesn't seem right to me." "Well, if he said that, do it and get it over with," said the old woman. "The judge is a wise man. This time I am sure that our house will get bigger. We can be patient a little while longer." So the old man went slowly to the barn. Soon he was back with the goat and the pigs. The goat didn't want to go into the house, but at last the old man got him in. The pigs were glad to get in. They began to look around for some food. The house was so filled now that the old man could find no place to rest. That day the goat pushed the old woman right into the cream that she was making into butter. A pig put his dirty nose into the poor baby's food. More dishes were knocked onto the floor and broken. The old woman became very angry. She said, "This cannot go on. You must go back to the judge. Tell him that we can no longer eat or sleep in the house. We can't be patient any longer. We can't work if we can't rest. The baby is sure to get hurt in a house filled with animals." This morning he cut himself on one of the broken dishes. So the old man went back to the judge's house and knocked on the door. When the judge saw the old man, he said, "Well, why are you back? Hasn't your house grown big enough for you?" "No, it hasn't," said the old man, "you must help us. My poor wife can no longer put up with the animals. I am afraid they will hurt the baby. The poor baby cuts himself on broken dishes. My son and his wife can't get any rest while the house is filled with animals. They have been patient, but our house hasn't grown any bigger." The judge smiled. "So at last you say it's your poor wife who can't stand the animals, and it's your son's wife and baby that you are thinking of. At last you are thinking of somebody else, not just yourself. Well, go home and take all the animals to the barn. Help your wife clean up the dirty house. See what will happen." The old man hurried home. When he came to the house, his wife was trying to make butter. At last the judge says to take all the animals to the barn. Cried the old man. "Help me get them out." The old man and his wife pushed and pulled at the animals until not one was left in the house. The animals seemed happy to get back where they belonged. Then the old man and his wife started to clean the dirty house. They washed the floor. Then they washed all the windows. Now the house began to look clean and tidy again. It seemed as if some magic were at work. The old wife made the butter and washed the new dishes and all the old ones that had not been knocked onto the floor and broken. The son's wife made a fine dinner for the 5 of them, with food enough to feed 10. No one was unhappy, it seemed like magic. At last all the work was done. The dishes were washed, the house was clean, and the baby was sleeping soundly. The patient old man and his wife and the son and his wife sat down to rest. "Hasn't this house grown?" said the old woman. The judge was right. "You kept your promise and the house really has grown bigger. It seems like magic. We don't need to build a new house." When you see the wise judge, thank him. Tell him that we are glad that we waited patiently for the house to grow. And never again were the old man and his good wife unhappy.